Hi, I'm Alex Palt, and I'm here at the Things Conference in Amsterdam with Jay Clifford from Influx Data. How's it going, Jay?
Really great, and thanks for having me, by the way. Beautiful venue that we're in. Stunning, right?
Isn't this cool?
Absolutely amazing. Literally, it's not claustrophobic. You've got room to talk. It's green, which is amazing. So awesome.
So now, is this your first event? Is it your second? How many times have you been coming?
What, to the Things conference? This is my first. So I've actually become a beginner. I feel quite intermediate level with the Things network now. So I was actually buzzing to come to the event for the first time. So
well, yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. You were involved in the Things network, and then you said, "Hey, I got to come to the event."
Absolutely. So the way I sort of like segued into it is I was dealing with a lot of industrial data in my last job, and sort of like when I was looking at the Things network, I moved into InfluxDB, and then I was like, they were like, "Hey, can you monitor all of our household plants all around the world?" And I was like, oh my days, I need a platform that's going to be able to do this. What can I do that's open source, easy to use, and I can just get people to set up devices and do it? And that's when I landed on the Things network. I was like, such an easy way to maintain, collect data, and people don't even have to worry about having routers available because there's such a large community of routers available for collecting the data.
Well, when you think about that, Jay, the IoT is kind of like the blind man and the elephant, right? It's this huge thing, except we can at least see the elephant. It's not the blind man and the elephant, it's the people. We each see the part of the internet that we're holding on to at that moment. You know what I'm saying? And so some people look at the fact that it's device connection. Some people look at the fact that it's infrastructure. Something tells me you're looking about the data and the information that is being generated.
Absolutely, and this is where we're seeing a big trend move in the market. So if you look back to maybe 2-3 years ago when I started in the industrial IoT, I was guilty of it. We would go on site, we would connect their machines up, we would store data in a database, we would then give them a dashboard and be like, good luck, here you go. Hopefully you can make Edgeway out of your data and understand what you need to, look at OEE or OEE for your sort of like, those operational requirements. Now we're seeing, like vendors look at us and go, so what? So what can I actually derive from my data? And sort of this is where we're coming out from Influx Data is we're a data storage engine. We store sensor data, but where can we move from that? Where can we actually derive new meaning from our data?
Well, but hasn't capital B, capital D, big data been around for a while?
So absolutely, and it's more about taking that collective, that huge lake of data, that almost noise, as you will. Like it's great to know that you have temperature data over the course of a day that never fluctuates or changes, but it's then taking that next layer up. And I think that's, where the analytical providers are really coming in now and providing insight and where they can see, okay, so for this instance, I knew my machine was running at 75% efficiency for most of the day and 25% for not. And it's this next layer that's bringing more people into interpreting all this huge data lakes that people have. And we're trying to now bring that functionality to developers so they can start using that within the scope of our product and use it in a way that doesn't require an expensive data science product in order to use it.
So is it a hard product or is it a service or is it a combination of the two?
Exactly. So InfluxDB is an open source time series database. So you can either run it, so we have a cloud solution, or you can either run it on-prem. So we have about 705,000 instances of InfluxDB out in the wild. So it's quite a used product. And basically it all boils down to the fact that we store time series data. And we take that time series data, especially from the Things network, looking at either the sensor data or analyzing the actual network itself, and then we can bring new meaning and insight to that data using our functional programming language called Flux.
There you go. So now, Jay, there's tons of information out there, tons of use cases, tons of applications. Can you give me an example of doesn't have to be weird, but like interesting, someone that said, wow, I didn't realize I could do that. And give us an interesting data story.
Interesting data story. Ooh, let me think about this one. So we've sort of given a bit of the plant use case already. So one of the best ones that I've seen in a while is, and I kind of is actually talking here today. So really, really good. Essentially what he's doing is he's using LoRaWAN sensors that he's setting up around a national park, as you will. Like so, one of the main goals that he's solving is actually to protect birds of prey, so wildlife, raptors there. And so what you was finding is there was a massive spike during COVID where farmers or other hunters would go out and basically shoot protected birds of prey in the UK, which is highly illegal. So what he was doing, there was no way of measuring when this was happening or why this was happening. And so what he's now doing is he started a community project where he puts these sensors out, collects the data within our platform, and can now tell the community and authorities when potential people are coming out into the areas at unusual times. So, middle of the night, I don't know why you might be in like a national park, but clearly it might be up to no good. And he's looking at other technology where you might look at gunshots and stuff like that as well, which is really, really cool tech to be used on time series data.
Well, that's a great example to use. When you think about it, is it pretty much established the areas that could use this tech pretty much are aware they could use it? Maybe they haven't implemented it, but they're aware. Are there areas that are clueless? Are there still some areas of the map, as it were, that are unexplored that you can go and say, hey, this can work for you, and they'll go, what?
Like, wow, yeah, exactly. So it's really interesting because I'm still discovering those myself as well, and you kind of discover actually as well which markets are a bit ahead of the game. So for instance, agriculture, I never expected agriculture to be ahead of the game in terms of IoT than everyone else. But you look at John Deere and people like that, and they're telling us what to do about 4 years ago. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my days. So going back to your question of looking at people that haven't quite discovered it, I think a lot of the place to discover now is around geo data and geolocating that data, and that's really helping with sort of augmented reality and virtual reality use cases. So maybe not specifically a domain area, but how we utilize that data, sort of that digital twin of anchoring data points. So you could imagine, say you walk onto a shop floor and you say, okay, I have this machine, and I look at it through some augmented glasses and go, fantastic, here's all my health stats for that machine. And this is like the next front, bringing that data into the real world rather than just a 2D screen.
Got it. So then, Jay, what's next for you? Are you going to deepen and broaden, say, for example, the data aspects? Or are you going to change maybe some of the implementation aspects? Or are you going to go on what is for the future for you? Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. So our main drive is we call it bringing our time to awesome at Influx Data. And that's just making sure that developers feel comfortable with the platform and that they can use it to build amazing applications as quick as possible. So we've just released recently an MQTT native collector for InfluxDB Cloud. This allows us to ingest data directly from the Things network without any code, which is a really great step in the direction where we want to go. And next, we want to focus on a new release, which is a brand new storage engine called IOX. And this will hopefully revolutionize how we store data, basically consider how we store data, where we store data. So, we could store data on a vessel, we could store data in the cloud, but you shouldn't have to care where that data is stored. You just have one location to take that data from.
Very cool. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience before we let you go today, Jay?
So thank you very much for having me, by the way. Absolutely brilliant. I just think, really get soaked into what open source can provide. I think it's a really great, gateway into getting involved in technology. And yeah, if you get stuck in, let me know and I'd love to help you out. Yeah. Excellent last words, Jay. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for your time. It's brilliant. Thank you. And don't forget, we've got Simon Kemper from DataCake coming in and talking about the Things Stack.